What does a superhuman spaceman with his VTuber waifu, a pigeon dating sim, cybernetic Jack the Ripper and Sonic have in common? Some of the best soundtracks in gaming, of course. I had asked a while ago what some of the best soundtracks were that get you hyped or sad, and there's quite a selection to choose from. For me, we've got A Way Out's Farewell that still gets me, and the entire track list from Terraria's Calamity mod. I love you, DM Crew. But when it comes down to the question of the most influential music in gaming, you can kind of divide that into two categories. The first is the tracks that are famous for the games that they come from, essentially video game soundtracks that you hear them, you recognise what game they're attached to. Examples include Mario, Halo and even Pokemon. But then there's the other kind of influential tracks that are well known regardless of the game they're from. We'll be talking about that category today. I want to posit to you that there is a soundtrack from a game and its franchise that, regardless of if you've ever played the game or franchise before, you will have already heard. You may not immediately recognise any of the songs of the soundtrack, and maybe you've heard the game before thanks to all the memes, but I think you will have 100% heard at least a piece of the track somewhere if you've been on the internet long enough. It has appeared on random YouTube videos, memes, propaganda, and even episodes of TV shows that you may have watched. In fact, this music has been so influential that many years later a band was created to play the music from the very games themselves. The game and franchise is none other than Command & Conquer Red Alert. When I was researching for this video, I came to realise that very few people have actually spoken about the music in Red Alert and where it comes from, how it affects the game, and all the effort that was put into it. So, here's how this video is going to break down. To start with, I'm not going to look into each individual song because that will take far too long and I don't have the time. Instead, I'm going to be talking about the broad concept of the soundtrack in this section, how the music is implemented, where does it come from, so on and so forth. So let's start with the obvious, shall we? Who made the music? Well, if you're talking about Hell March, then obviously that's going to come from the original creator, which is Frank Klepacki. You could say that Frank Klepacki is the father of all Red Alert music because he made the music in Red Alert 1 and 2. However, while it's easy to credit him for most of the tracks that came later, he would only contribute to 3 of the tracks in the game. The reason for this being that Frank Klepacki at this point had left Westwood Studios, who developed Red Alert, and was now working at Petroglyph Games. So, per the contract, he couldn't do more than the 3 songs he selected in Red Alert. Though of course, of the 3 he chose, he would choose Hell March. With that in mind, of course there would be a remix made by From First to Last, which would also end up on the soundtrack. But since Klepacki was out of the picture, who would record in his place instead? That task will fall upon Timothy Michael Wynn and James Hannigan, with of course special mention to Michael Sandgren for the credits. Here is a list of every single song in the game and who developed them. With the creators out of the way, let's get into It's time to get technical and nerdy. Red Alert has 2 types of music, generic or standard, and heritage. Generic music is your, well, standard OST. This is music that will play for your main menu, credits, transition screens, certain mission songs, so on and so forth. Heritage, on the other hand, is music that will only play for specific factions and conditions. For example, Rock and Ore is uniquely an Allied theme, so as a result it will only play for the Allies, and additionally it is a battle theme, therefore it will only play during a battle. That is the heritage and condition. This is important because these are the 2 conditions that apply when determining what theme will play. Each faction have their own heritage, and as a result the tracks match this. The Allies tend to have more rock influence in their songs. The Soviets are more heavy metal, and the Rising Sun uses a lot of synthesizers. They all generally use guitars, and they can be played interchangeably with similar instruments, but the tracks are unique in their flavour. To prove this, let me play the battle theme for each of the factions. First, starting with rock and ore, we have the Allies. Sorry to cut you off. Next, we have the Soviets. And then moving on to the Rising Sun, we have the synthetic. See? Now notice that I mentioned battle theme. Well, as already mentioned, that's the second condition. Red Alert has a dynamic music system, probably the best part about the game, and there is no one talking about it. So I shall. As the game progresses, assuming it isn't a mission which might have changed OST, the music will dynamically shift based upon your playstyle. The game does this by splitting the music into two categories. You have exploring and combat. The exploring music is played at the start of the game, and it's played when out of combat and there's no enemies around. Combat music begins when, surprise surprise, combat is initiated, and that one has 3 phases: default combat, losing combat, and winning combat. It's self-explanatory really. If you're kicking arse, you get the winning track. If you're taking losses, you get the losing one. There's also the transitional music between the scores to merge them all together, and finally, you have a hidden, humorous title track named Up Yours that plays when significant damage is dealt by a super weapon, and typically plays music to the one that's used on you. At first, I originally thought that exploration music was actually faction specific, relating to the heritage of the music I just discussed, but it turns out actually it isn't. In fact, and this is where it gets confusing, exploration music is tied to the map or mission, and every faction hears the same. Heritage music is what's attached to the specific factions. This is where my research had turned to a crawl, because despite a very brief mention of dynamic and heritage music, not one soul has listed where this exploration track or music or dynamic music comes from. So, ladies and gentlemen, I, Dextrius, am proud to announce for the first time since maybe 2008 with the developers themselves, somebody can actually give you an order of where the songs appear. Strap in. On screen is a list of each mission and where the music appears. Yes, this is from my previous script. No, I am not reading it all. Screenshot it, save it. Next time you play the game and want to know what song's being played, now you've got a reference. And to answer any questions, yes, this meant I played the entire Red Alert campaign and then spent time cross-referencing my footage with the songs in the recording. I also found out that a lot of the tracks are remixed, and no, those remixes don't have a name.
Future Dex here, currently editing. This isn't true. Turns out they do have names, and I found these way late. Just watch this clip.
Mixed? What the fuck?
No way. No fucking way. This is their names? Half a mi- oh.
That took a lot of time. Anyway, oh yes, and the skirmish maps. Skirmish maps work the exact same as missions. The songs that play are linked to the map. Thankfully, I made this wonderful PowerPoint. I'm not doing the DLC. I am not that sick in the head. Whilst I flick through these, I want you to note that the songs play for all factions out of combat, as mentioned. These map tracks are just when it's quiet. These tracks will always be interrupted on the second stage, which is battle, which we'll get into in a moment. Quick note on this one, I have no idea who made this track. If you're wondering why there's question marks on some, it's because the information is vague. Anyway, every faction has their battle tracks. These are upbeat and intense. If, however, you lose a lot of units, you'll start to hear the defeat or retreat tracks. Now, as you might have found a glitch, because I don't think this is intentional, but it's very often you will hear the defeat tracks, because obviously as you're fighting you lose units, therefore you hear the defeat track. You only really hear the victory theme when you're destroying an enemy base, and you have an overwhelming victory. Hard to say. It works, it does work, it just means that you're not very often going to hear your faction's victory theme. And lastly, we have the hilariously named Up Yours tracks. These actually break the norm and are some of the most intense tracks in the game. See, it doesn't work like the rest. It doesn't play your track for you. Instead, if you build a super weapon, which is very obvious and everyone can see, and you manage to finally get it off and destroy a base, the person you use it on will hear your faction's Up Yours track. And of course, yes, the same can happen for you. Well, that about covers the mechanics. I would go in depth on each track, but honestly, I think that's best left to actual musical YouTubers. As for the rest of us, it's time to look into why the hell the music, as per the topic of this video, is everywhere. Aside from Hell March that some of you might notice, I'm going to go out of a limb and say that the music is far further than you know. It's in your movies. It's in your shows. It's in your memes, it's in your walls, it's in your bed. I've lost my mind. Let's move on to...
One time is funny, two times it's fucking annoying, no?
This following section is actually a series of highlights from a stream I did over on Twitch. You can find that here. That's right, I'm a VTuber, don't worry about it. But do check me out, I've got some good streams over there, like this one. Without further ado, enjoy.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, boys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through every single instance of music in Red Alert that has appeared in random places. So this here, which I think... So this here is Frank Klepacki and his Tiberian Sons. This is the band he made and they played live at Magfest. Oh, yes. I think I missed an opportunity in the world. So whilst he's going over that, bit of lore. So Hell March became a very cornerstone of Frank Klepacki's work. Obviously not that it defined his work. He went on to do loads of different songs, but if anyone ever refers to Frank Klepacki, the most common thing people remember for is Hell March, and Hell March is fucking everywhere. Of all the songs that we'll be looking at today that just appear in the most randomest of places, it's this one, it's Hell March. It shows up in a lot of army marching cadence videos, a lot of propaganda. For some reason, a lot of it Russian and Chinese, but it's for other places too. People hear Hell March and they think soldiers marching. I mean, it's in the bloody name, and it's the March to Hell. And well, you always see this come back together. And that's Hell March 3. what a transition! More people need to play Red Alert. You lot do not understand how much of a cornerstone Red Alert was in my life. I remember being a kid, and we used to go back and forth from the store all the time, buying constant games, constantly getting games. And mainly, it's Red Alert free. I'd buy it, then I'd need money, and I'd be bored of it, so I'd sell it back at the GameStop. And then I'd get money later, and I'd buy it again. And that's like a repeat on the 360 over and over again. This is my childhood, chat! Yes! Player defeated, you are victorious! Yeah, sorry. So anyway, really got into that there. So you've heard Hell March. I didn't get many samples of Hell March, 'cause it's just everywhere, but here's one. Here's one.
The country, 100. It's actually 100 chess boards.
I don't know if you can hear it over his writing, but that is. There you go. You already know your chat. Actually, I've got another one. I think. Hang fire. I'm sure I got someone over here. Ricky.
His place in the greater good. That is generally
Okay. Stop. Shut up, Ricky. Right. Sorry. I apologize. I should probably not say anything to Bricky. Bricky is a legend.
His
Listen.
ignorance. Seek to understand his differences and equate him with his inadequacies.
Anyway, so that song, he's actually talked about Red Alert. Bricky, you cheeky sausage. I gotta use him as an example. He's already talking about the very topic. Well, anyway, the song he used there. That's it, Mecha Storm. I was singing wrong theme. Okay, so you're a smart one, Bricky. Using Mecha Storm for mechs. It only took 4 years before someone got the reference. 95 million, sorry. Here we go. Right. I've listened to this. Opening Raw. So, random SFM from TF2 back in 2012 using this song. Bar for bar. And guess where it's from? Red Alert! I've noticed that notably Hell March appears everywhere, which is the Russian one. Most of the Rising Sun themes appear everywhere. I should probably make a video like when weebs attack, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why Rising Sun is the most common theme, but we'll find out in a moment. So here we go. So Let's Sleep in Dragon's Light. I want to play you this theme first, and then I'm going to show everywhere it shows up. So here we go. Here's the song. Okay. Wait, is that Adolf Hitler? But I don't know why. And I would really love to like pick the brains of people who did sound engineering on a lot of these shows. This was the most popular one. And I'll show you. Here we go. So let's start with Gordon Ramsay.
Never mind, last time. You can try. Yeah, very good.
That actually tastes better.
It's a very short sting. Very tiny. Very easy to miss. Well, let's get you another one. Top Gear.
Some say he's the Stig, but he isn't.
It's the Stig's Chinese cousin. Of course, let's ignore the fact that the music's based upon Japan.
He's the Stig's Chinese cousin.
You hear this?
Now, I should explain. Just constantly, it's like, why are you doing that?
Like, randomly watch a Top Gear, and then for some reason, we got this. I don't know why Hitler's there. Anyone seen Community? I've never seen Community. I don't know how it was referenced to me. I don't watch this stuff. But, yeah, even here. Let me find it.
Get up, Daniel. Get up.
Very easy to miss. Again, another flashbang. Another just like a few seconds of the audio. This is supposed to be a song for the Battle Base Octathon. No, sorry, that's a map. Sorry, Battle Base. There's a Battle Base in the game, right? That's what you need to know. And this is the theme. Got it? We got it in your mind, chat? You know the song now? Yeah? Oh, wait, I don't think I can watch this. I'm going to have to switch. If you want to watch it, it is Season 2, Episode 3, Mr. Pickles. I'm not kidding. Right at the start. The second it plays, the first thing you're going to hear is... Other ones, I think these are all samples I got as sources, but I just couldn't find them. Apparently Netflix 100 Humans uses it, and Evil Encounters on Netflix too. I don't have a Netflix account, so I can't look. Let's say in class you're about to watch a World War II documentary. Have a listen to this, because this apparently shows up quite a bit in them. So there you go. What I'm essentially giving you is cursed knowledge right now. Every song I give you, you're going to look for and find, why does Hitler keep showing up? Oh, here we go. So I mentioned about propaganda. Bricks News says, in China's Hell March, the best military march in the world. Oh, sorry, is China's Hell March the best military march in the world? China's? Hold on a minute. Hell March 1, made by Frank Klepacki in 1995 at Westwood Studios in Los Angeles, I think, was it? LA? I don't know about you boys. And yeah, obviously it's got community noted. Hell March was composed by American composer Frank Klepacki as the main theme for Red Alert video game series, which is also American. It's not China's in any sense. Anyway, so if I was to put in Hell March, Britain's Hell March, that's just funny. Isn't that Dad's Army? Okay, you know what? I love that. That in response to all the shit you see on Hell March is fucking amazing. Anyway, so what else we got? That's not Hell March. That's Gangster's Paradise. Okay, there you go. That's a good citation. This song's called Hell March. There you go. Thank you. Death Marches. Hey, that's kind of cool. There we go. Right. What the fuck? What? What's the context here? What's this? Oh, is this on? Oh, there's another one I didn't even include. Here you go.
So, after our feast, it was time for bed, and we were shown to the best rooms in the house.
What is that? You heard it.